All right, everybody. So today we have a special guest here, Miss Sarah Taylor, and she's been with us she's been at SLS longer than I've been here, and she works with us here. She helps train and coach new agents, and she's an extremely successful agent herself. What are some stats, Sarah, that you can think off the top of your head that you've had for like big days or weeks or months or years or something?
Oh, my first year I made over $125,000 in annual premiums, and that was right out of the gate. So just follow the system.
Awesome, cool. Yeah. So first year she did really really well, and that probably wasn't even first a calendar year, right? You probably started somewhere in the middle of the year or something. So she, yeah. So okay, cool. So Sarah, what are some things? How long you been selling life insurance on the phone for?
It'll be 7 years in October.
Okay. So cool thing about Sarah's story, guys, is that how did you have a CRM when you started?
No,
So let's
no.
walk us through what that looked like, because some people watching this, they're like, "What CRM do I need? This, that, the third," and you don't need all that stuff. So what did you do, Sarah?
We used to get paper leads, and we would just call, and we would literally have a recorder to record the voice signatures. All of our apps were done on paper. We'd write everything out, so we didn't have any of this technology at all.
So when you say you wrote it out, so you would have so walk us through that. So now the application processes is just like a voice signature, or someone at the company
Mhm.
confirms it. So let walk us through that. Like if someone agreed to a policy, how did you have to do the app?
So we would have to handwrite the entire app. Depending on the plan they were on, we had to do a interview, which took anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour. Then we'd have to go through all the underwriting with them, do a voice signature with like I said, a voice recorder, and then hand everything in, and hopefully it would go through because there was no immediate underwriting.
So when you say record, or like recording, what like on a CD, a cassette, like
I actually did it on a program on my phone, but you could also use a actual, mini disc or mini tape recorder.
okay. And did you have to mail the applications or fax them in to,
We had to mail them,
oh my gosh,
so we'd FedEx them once a week, and like I said, hopefully they would go through and wouldn't have any issues.
what if they didn't?
Then you're going to be waiting a while. We'd have to get, medical records, and I mean, I've had policies that I wrote that didn't get issued for 2 months because of medical records, where now we can do it in 2 minutes. So
You realize you're like one of the pioneers of final expense telesales, right?
I had no idea.
I mean, yeah, because it really only got big during COVID. Before COVID, it was, oh, you can't sell insurance over the phone. Some people did it. There were some IMOs that were big that did it, big companies, but for people that, yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, think about now how much easier it is to have all the tech. Like it's almost being made for that. Before, it was almost designed for face to face, but you guys had to just make it happen.
Yeah. Well, I actually started doing working from home before COVID because I was in a very bad car accident and I couldn't walk. So I had, I was in the bed with crutches and a walker and had my laptop and my little voice recorder. And when I was in the hospital, I sold two nurses with, I had 6 broken ribs and a brain injury, but I
Oh
was
my
still selling
gosh,
people.
good for you. That's cool.
Thank
What
you.
do you, yeah, what do you think something that helped you be successful when you started?
My family support, 1,000%. No matter what I did, no matter how bad my day was, I always had my family to back me up, and I had wonderful mentors that just would not let me fail.
Okay, cool. So that's important. I mean, anybody watching this here, like, it's important to get your family on the same page as you, and also, and
Mhm.
that you maybe what advice do you give to someone who's maybe the people they live with, their family aren't as supportive?
Well, for me personally, and my advice, in my first year, my first couple of months, I just really had to make a conscious decision that this is what I'm throwing myself into. This is what I'm doing. So unfortunately, some family members and some friends would be like, "Oh, well, you're 1099. You can do whatever you want."
Hmm.
You have to treat this. just as a 9 to 5 job, just any like you would do any other job. You can't leave in the middle of the day for 4 hours, because you're a 1099. You're only, you're only cheating yourself out of money, time, experience. So
Yeah.
just really stick with it. That first year, you really got to buckle down.
So when you say buckle down, let's put some numbers to that, right? Because it's easy to say just work hard. So like if like what is the quantitative definition of work hard? Like if you were to look at statistics, something someone could track to aim to hit every day, or like hour wise or something, or like numbers, what would you recommend?
Okay. So if you're working, on the telephone, I would say when you're starting out, start with a smaller goal, like 200 dials a day, and then kind of build it up to 250 to 300. And then from there, you'll see that translate into more talk time. But definitely what very much helps is to set a schedule at the beginning of the week. Sunday night, take 20 minutes, a half hour. I got this, and this going on this week, so I need to work a little extra on Monday, a little extra on Wednesday, to make sure that I get all of my time in and that I'm putting forth, my best effort.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So it really comes down to, hey, like how much, so work can be defined as dial counts and talk time and like how much time you actually spend trying to get a conversation going, I guess then, right?
Yeah, because this is a little different. You can be, at your office or at your desk for 9, 10 hours a day and only work for 2 hours, and then you're like, where did my paycheck go? Why do I not have any money, and why do
Hmm.
I not am I not advancing in my career? And that could be a reason.
I mean, yeah, it's important to put that in or that effort
Hmm.
in. So now, fast forward 7 years later, I mean, how fast could you get to 5,000 in annual premium now if you just like had to go for it?
If I really sat down and I could do it on a Monday, I could do it by 2 o'clock on a Monday, no problem. I just really got to kind of cut out all my distractions and just sit down and just do it.
Yeah,
I
that's
know if
like
I have somebody on the phone for more than 3 minutes, they're buying something from me.
it's so impressive. Um, by
Thank
the way,
you.
guys, if you find value in this, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, check the description of the video for information on how you can get in touch with Sarah and I if you have any questions. So, um, like, what helps you be able to determine that? Like, close some like if someone's on the phone for a few minutes, like, how do you know that? Are there any signs, or do you just feel it, or?
Oh, absolutely. There's buying signals, and there's definitely a point in the conversation when you could almost hear the person warm up to you. It'd be a little joke or a little kind of nod or oh, really listen for background cues and things like that. No matter what they have going on, I have the same thing going on. You got a little dog, I got a little dog. You got a horse out back, I
Yep.
got a horse out back. And Google everything and just everything they say. Just, I mean, don't suck up to them, but be uh, be friendly to them, and just everybody's kind of going through the same thing, just on different levels. So you just gotta kind of put yourself on their level and see what they're going through.
Okay, cool. So I guess from that sense, it sounds like most of the sale is just trust, I guess, right? Getting
I'd
someone to
say
really like you
ninety
and trust you.
percent Everybody needs life insurance, but they're only going to buy it from you because they like you and they trust you. That's a huge thing because, especially nowadays, it's scary to give people your information over the telephone. So you really have to build that trust with somebody before, they're going to basically give you over their life, because you could really do a lot of damage with their information they're giving you.
Yeah, for sure. Is that like your main focus when in the first part of the call? Like when you get someone on the phone, you're like, I got to get this person to like me real quick.
I have to build a rapport, because without the rapport, there's nothing. I have to become their friend before I become their business partner.
Okay, cool. So, um, I don't know how genuine this would be because we're just you and I, we know each other, I guess, but
Hmm.
want to give them some example of how you'd maybe bring someone like some questions you'd ask, and based on my responses, how you'd respond, stuff like that for some basic like rapport building lesson.
Oh, of course. So when I would call you and say, "Hey, Justin, how are you doing today? My name's Sarah. I'm calling with Senior Life Services."
Hey,
And
Sarah.
so the reason I'm calling today is because it looks like you had reached out for some help with your life insurance. So I just kind of got to go over a little bit of the information that I have here. So I'm going to verify your name and your address. Is this all correct?
Yep, yeah, I got it. Yep, that's right.
Oh gosh, did I just hear a little dog in the background?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a little Skippy,
Oh, Skippy, what kind of dog is Skippy?
a Yorkie.
A Yorkie. Oh my gosh, I have a Shorkie. That's a Shih Tzu and a Yorkie mixed together. That's crazy. Oh, we
That's
were meant to
cool.
be talking today. That's awesome. Okay, so you got your little Shorkie, or your little Yorkie, Skippy. All right, do you have any other animals?
No, just Skippy. He
Just
keeps me
Skippy?
company.
Okay, he's probably spoiled. All right.
Oh
So
yeah,
it looks like here that you want to get us something in place and leave your daughter as your beneficiary. Does that sound about right?
that sounds right. Yeah, that's what I was
Awesome.
thinking.
Okay. Did you only have one baby?
Yeah, yeah, just one, one,
Just
one,
one?
one
Okay.
baby and one dog.
We're both spoiled, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's see what we can do here. All right, now I'm just going to ask you a few simple questions just to kind of make sure, kind of see what you need, and so I can kind of meet your needs. Okay. So I
Okay.
see you are, 35. It looks like you don't smoke cigarettes. Does this all sound right?
Yeah, it does. So let's see. Now, what if you're going through and someone's like, yeah, well, I already took care of that.
Oh, I'm so glad that you got ahead of the game. Now, a lot of people that I talk to, they do have life insurance, but they don't have the state regulated program that actually gives you a lot of extra benefits that you wouldn't even think that life insurance would give you. So let me just kind of run through what we can do for you, and at the very least, it's just a little bit of information, okay?
Cool. All right, sweet. And then if someone's like, yeah, 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 I'm not interested, how would you handle that?
Oh, you're not. Oh, well, sorry, you don't even know what you're not interested in yet. So just give me a couple of minutes, and like I said, if I can just talk to you, and at the very least, it's a little bit of information. And at the end of it, you can tell me to go fly a kite, and I'll be okay with that. But at least I know that I tried to help you.
Cool. Okay, so sounds like what you do is, and that's how I know Sarah's at elite level because a lot of times, as we see when we train agents, is like we have to have one specific part for story mode, right? For like learning about them, asking them questions, and then another specific part for asking about their information, their health, and everything else. And
Hmm.
what Sarah's reached is something it's probably came natural to you, maybe not, but I'd imagine it kind of did because I know it kind of did for me being I'm a
Hmm.
conversationalist. So what you hear there, guys, is she asks a question, builds a little bit of a relationship, brings it back to the script. Asks another question, builds a little bit more of a relationship, brings it back to the script. So it's not like two separate parts. This is how I know Sarah's like. I mean, when you hear someone doing that, you're like, okay, this person's really good because they're guiding the client through a sale, and the client doesn't even know because
Yep.
it just seems like a conversation.
Now I hear a little bit of an accent there. Were you born in Florida? No, you were probably born somewhere up north, right?
Yeah, perfect,
Just
exactly.
listen for little cues like that. It really does help.
Awesome, sweet. So that's in the greeting there. Okay, how do you normally handle objections? Like, are there some objections you just don't even push with, or do you really get objections a lot because of
I
the
don't
relationship you
honestly
build?
get too many objections because I've built the trust and the rapport that they can't really give an objection. I mean, the worst the only one that I get that still have no idea how to deal with is I'm gonna live forever. I wasn't 100% sure that vampires were alive, but apparently they are.
That's awesome. And guys, that's true. It's like if you hit all the dots in your presentation, then
Hmm.
there's not really going to be any objections
You're
that
not gonna get pushback a lot, no.
yeah. How long is your average sale before like say from when you
On
close
first
them?
call sale,
Yeah, first call sale and all the way from to the
um,
end when they say yes and they agree to.
20-25 minutes.
Okay, cool, awesome. And do you ask for referrals?
I try to. Honestly, I'm not the best at asking for referrals, but I have, and I do have quite a bit of referral clients. But I also send out a card that I have made up with every sale. I send this out personally, and
Awesome.
it just kind of says, hey, thank you
Ah, I love
for
that.
trusting us, and here's my number, and here's a prepaid envelope to send me anything back. So if you have any referrals, please send them to me. And sometimes I get them back, sometimes I don't, but they really do like getting the card, and they remember me. Oh, you were the one that sent me that nice card. I have it hanging on my refrigerator.
That's awesome. So um, that probably helps with your business quality too, having
Mm-hmm.
people keep their persistency. So you've been helping with, I mean, you've been coaching and training agents longer than I have, and you've been with our team here now in Mika McKinney. There's another. You can check the description of the video. There's a link to a video I did with Mika, and her and Sarah handle a team here. So, in your experience, what are let's say if anything that you can think of that is some of the biggest barriers to success for new agents starting out in telesales or just kind of get the ball rolling?
Honestly, the biggest barrier, the biggest roadblock you're going to run into is you. Because this is the way that I kind of think about this is this job, it's like college. You've already paid your money, you've already punched your ticket, so you have to be the one that shows up, you have to be the one that does it. It's not like high school when, if you call out of work, they're like, "Oh my God, bring a
Yeah.
doctor's note. What are you doing?" So there's a lot of the freebie jeebies we call it that happens in the first year. Because a lot of people in my experience have come from, real button down corporate, punch in, punch out, put your brain in a drawer kind of jobs.
Yeah.
And this is not that. You
No.
have to be, accountable to yourself. You got to be accountable to, your goals and what you want to accomplish. And that's a huge thing, also to know very clearly what you want your goals to be. My goals were to purchase a house, to make sure that my kids don't want anything, to make sure that my husband and myself are financially secure, and we don't have to check our bank account every time we want to buy something. So that those were my goals, and everybody's goals are going to be different. um, but you have to be honest with yourself, and that's a huge part of this. You have to be honest with yourself and what you want to accomplish. And really, the first year is going to be the toughest. So if you can make it past the first year, you have an excellent shot of doing everything.
Awesome. Cool. So it's really just sounds like, I mean, I talk about this a lot, and this is actually, guys, before I even go through anything with new agents for sales, I cover what are your goals, how are we going to set up a schedule for it, and like what's the plan to accomplish those things. So that's so important because dialing is calling strangers can be intimidating. It can be scary. It can be not fun. It can be boring. But if
Hmm.
you especially if you don't have those goals behind it and you're not calling for a purpose, then it can get super draining. So number one, get out of your own way. Number two, what are some things that you feel, say in the sales calls themselves, what are some things that throw off new people, like pretty much everybody?
Definitely things that throw off new people are, you know, either when the person is very dry and they don't know how to start a conversation, they're not good at small talk,
Hmm.
which it's in my first year, I would actually call my mom or my dad every day before I started and have, a 10-20 minute conversation with them. So I wasn't just like the first words that were coming in my mouth were, hey, this is Sarah calling about some insurance. So then that really did help. But with new agents, they get thrown off when people are either very dry or they're too familiar, and they start talking to them like, oh, hey, girl, just
Okay.
being a little fresh with them. And definitely objections. They'll I already have insurance. Oh, okay, well, thanks, bye. Like they're just
Hmm.
they don't realize, you're never going to see these people. You're only there to help them in a business standpoint, to help. You're helping them help their family. And even though you're going to talk to a bunch of people in a day, what you're doing for that person is going to make a huge difference in not only their life but their family's life and how their family remembers them. So you really got to keep that in mind, that what we're doing is very, very powerful.
Yeah, because we don't really help anybody if they don't get a policy.
Exactly.
So,
So
and
if they're not helping, if you're not helping them, then somebody else might, and somebody else might go the extra mile and become more trustworthy with them when the door was open for you. You just didn't walk through it.
exactly. So, what are some things that you recommend for a new agent to do to help them overcome those things, right? So you said you have the issue with being purpose driven, so set
Hmm.
goals, right? And then,
Also,
yeah.
this really helped me, and I have seen a ton of agents use this. Put a mirror on your desk. Like, I mean, some people are on Zoom and everything like that, but when I started, no Zoom. So we would put a mirror on our desk because if I'm talking to you like this, hey Justin, what's going on? Like you can hear that on the other end. But if I'm saying, hey Justin, let's go, let's talk about some life insurance, like people they can hear your energy and it's just it comes across so much better. So definitely that, and just be organized, be as organized as you possibly can be, and constantly educate yourself, constantly do um, constantly
training
training
videos and stuff.
yourself and doing yourself. I'm sorry, there was somebody at my door.
No, it's fine.
Constantly do things to make yourself, in this, look at what funerals cost, what cremations cost, what the new things that they're doing, with, aftercare, things like that. What the different laws are about confined care and just all the different innovations that are coming with. Just keep yourself educated and keep yourself motivated. It's not all, this job can be very mundane if you make it mundane.
Hmm.
So, definitely try to motivate yourself. Read motivational books, read motivational, watch videos. That makes such a huge, I didn't do that for the first 6 months, and it really affected me once I started doing it. It made a world of difference.
Oh yeah,
Don't
I mean,
surround yourself with negativity because it's going to come across.
yeah, 100%. And I like what I've seen. One thing is that, um, my success personally has been limited by the amount I've invested back into myself. And
Mm-hmm.
you guys don't have to have money to invest back into yourself. There's so much content, like on YouTube, for example, like videos like you're watching here, where you
Mm-hmm.
can learn from people like Sarah, who could probably start a consulting company teaching people how to sell life insurance on the phone. So go all in, and like there gets to a point like it can feel like a drag at first, but just keep going, and you're gonna grow. So,
Yep.
what are some things you've learned as a leader, um, that may be different from, like, what are some differences that you've seen from being a leader as opposed to being a sales agent, and some challenges that you may have run into, and how you overcome them?
Mm-hmm. So making the transition from, strictly selling to also coaching people was a little tough for me just because it is, not only are you helping these people sell and, doing the technical side of training it, you're dealing with everybody's, issues, their fears, their insecurities. To do this, some people are very insecure about talking to people on the phone and they're insecure about how they can sell people. So you really got to be, you have to be in a good place, mentally to be able to coach somebody to do this. Because, like I said, it can be, morbid. We're talking about people dying all day.
Yeah.
So you got to have some kind of joy in your life and joy in your heart to be able to do this. You have to have a passion for it. And if you don't have a passion for it, it's really going to translate into your sales and your takeaway. So definitely, um, be positive, and that's what I'm thinking is to be positive because it does make an effect transitioning into coaching from sales.
Okay, cool. I've noticed that I personally have way more patience with other people than with myself. So for me, I expect like perfection all the time. Like I should know something and be good at it right away. And then with other
Hmm.
people, I'm like uh, way more patient. And that's something I've learned. It's just like everybody's different, and we're all learning and growing. Everybody starts new
Hmm.
somewhere too.
Well, and it's also so very exciting for me to watch new agents, like, the first time they get a big check or the first time they get like a lot of praise and their eyes just get open like, oh my gosh, I could really do this. I could make a career out of this. And that gets me going now. Like, I don't know about you, but that really
Oh
makes
yeah.
a huge difference for me.
Yeah, same here. Like I love seeing
Yeah.
people accomplish it. Now it's like I know that my goals are going to be accomplished if I help other people accomplish their goals. So if I help
Hmm.
you, Mika, Josh, Zach accomplish your goals, from a coaching and building perspective, then my goals are going to get accomplished anyway, because and it's cool to see that. it's cool to see it grow, and then your checks from that are going to grow, and your commissions, and you keep going, keep crushing it with your sales and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see. It's pretty cool to see the way that you balance it from a expertise sales level. So if anybody here wants to potentially work with you, Sarah, how could they reach you?
You could go right on to the Senior Life Services website, which I'm sure you will link below,
Yep.
to be able to do that. And you could reach out, if anybody has any questions, Justin, please feel free to share my contact
Cool.
information. Please reach out to me personally. I'll give you the rundown, the good, the bad, the ugly, anything you want. And, this is a great career, but you have to be ready and prepared, and you have to really put your heart and your all into it.
You gotta want it for sure. I agree.
You gotta want it. Yep.
Yep. And look, guys, we don't take part-timers. So if you're like, oh, I
Mm-mm.
wanna pick Sarah's brain, we're not about that. It's like if you want to reach
Mm-mm.
out to her, and hey, you can pick her brain, ask her some questions, but we're not in the consulting business. We're here to help. That's why this video is here. I provide a lot of content. There's hours of stuff, but for someone to work with, we look for 50 plus hour a week. Like we don't
Mm.
consider 40 hours full time. That's part time. So it's like if someone wants to work with us, you got to be all in. We provide people all the leads they need, all the support, all the training, everything else. So if you have any, and if you can relate, if you relate to Sarah's situation, maybe you have anything that she mentioned she's been through, and you have some questions for her, by all means, send an email. But I'm just prefacing that because we don't do part time or anything like that. There's plenty of
Mm.
information in here to help people learn in that aspect. So, Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know you and
Thank
I got to get
you.
back to our teams because we got people who need help. So,
You
thank you
do.
for being here.
All right. Thank you for having